Hey VC, what's going on? It's Will, and I am back with a very quick album review. And today, of course, I'm gonna be reviewing the long-awaited and brand new Green Day album, Revolution Radio, that just came out yesterday on Friday on Reprise Records. I picked up my copy on vinyl from my local record store that came in with that cool-looking hype sticker with a picture of the cassette. And I think a lot of people online didn't like the album cover or the artwork for the album cover. I think it was pretty cool looking. It's a cool, nice looking picture of the boombox on fire. I think it's pretty cool. And in the back you get a picture of the band wearing those very creepy masks of themselves from the Bang Bang music video. And the track list. I also pre-ordered the deluxe edition of the CD, but that's in the mail right now, so I'm gonna be showing that in one of my next few videos. But anyways, my vinyl copy came in with a insert with a picture with additional pictures of the band, all of them wearing those crazy masks of themselves. And in the back you get all the lyrics for all the songs. And my vinyl copy that I picked up from the record store also came in on standard black vinyl with the custom labels, also with the pictures of the boombox on fire. So a cool looking record. Oh, and when I picked up my record at the store, they actually also gave me a promo mask of Billy Joe from Green Day. That is actually a lot freakier looking than I thought of now that I see it on the camera. But cool anyways, definitely a unique way of promoting the new album, Revolution Radio. But anyways, about the album, Revolution Radio, the brand new and the first or the 12th album by the California pop punk band and punk rock band. They've been around since the early 90s, and they've been releasing albums throughout the 90s and the 2000s. So there was a lot of expectations about this album, I would say, because I think people were curious about how Green Day would sound now in 2016 after the release of that trilogy of albums, Uno, Dos, Tres. That was, I thought they were pretty good, but I think they might have been a little bit overproduced. And so there was a lot of curiosity about how Green Day would sound now in Revolution Radio. And just a little bit of background about the album. Green Day announced this album I think a month ago, or maybe a month and a half ago, and they released a couple of songs from the album. They released Bang Bang and Revolution Radio, and immediately, of course, I'm a huge Green Day fan. I checked it out. I checked out both of the songs, and immediately I got very, very excited because they were very, very fast-paced songs, similar in style as in Nimrod, or an album like Insomniac from 1995. And I immediately thought that Green Day was gonna come out with a crazy punk rock album, a super fast-paced and super catchy punk rock album like Insomniac or Nimrod. And just a few weeks later, they released the third single from the album Revolution Radio, a song called Still Breathing. And I will admit, the first 2 times that I listened to the song, I did not like it at all. I thought the song was just too whiny, and I just did not like it at all. But after I listened to it a few more times, that song really grew on me. It was more on the style of a song like Wake Me Up When September Ends or 21 Guns. Kind of like a rock ballad with a loud, quiet, loud kind of technique. Which is, now that I actually listened to it a few more times, I will admit it's a really good song overall. But I think what was disappointing from my perspective is that I really thought that Green Day was going to come out with a crazy punk rock album like Insomniac. And when they released Still Breathing, it was pretty obvious that they were more on the side of an album like 21st Century Breakdown, with just nothing wrong with it. I thought 21st Century Breakdown was a great album, very underrated album that came out in 2009. But it was just that I was expecting something different from Green Day. And of course they released this album yesterday. And as far as the music from Revolution Radio, they're definitely on the side of 21st Century Breakdown. Definitely not from the similar to Nimrod or Insomniac. Maybe a couple of songs, but not as an overall album. And as far as the music, it's an eclectic mix of very fast-paced songs, very catchy and pop-punk songs, and also some slower kind of songs like Ordinary World, which is a really good ballad, and a song like Outlaw, which is kind of like a 21st Century Breakdown style kind of song, slower paced kind of song. A lot of very fast-paced songs as well, and a lot of songs that I would describe as arena punk, which is something that Green Day has been doing recently in albums like American Idiot and 21st Century Breakdown. Overall, a really good mix of songs, I would say, and the album flows really well. As far as the theme or the topic of the lyrics of the album, this is an album that's very different to what Green Day had been releasing back in the early 2000s. This is definitely not a concept album. This is not an album that tells a story like American Idiot from beginning to end that was eventually released as a Broadway musical. This is just a straight out rock and roll album. 12 straight out rock songs, nothing much after that. It flows really well, but it doesn't really tell a story. That's what I'm trying to say. A lot of songs about current events, about things that are going on in the country, in the US, as well as in the world overall. For example, in a song like Bang Bang, where Billy Joel Armstrong sings about, or he gets in the mind of a school shooter or a mass shooter, which is a kind of a very interesting kind of songs and very interesting lyrics as well. Songs like Say Goodbye, which is a song about police brutality, and songs like Troubled Times, where like the title says, is a song about things that are going on that are wrong currently in the country and in the world overall, and just about living in troubled times as a young person in America or in the world. And but what's good about those topics is that or what's different about those topics is that this is not necessarily a political album like American Idiot. American Idiot was a political album. They definitely were on one side. They were anti-war, they were anti-Bush administration. They made themselves clear that they were against all those topics. In this album, they're not taking a side. They're just telling the story as it is. This is what's going on in the world. This is what's happening now, which I thought it was pretty cool. I liked it how they did not get too political with Revolution Radio. A lot of personal songs from Billy Joel Armstrong. He wrote all the songs in Revolution Radio. Of course, he just came out of rehab, out of drug abuse. So a lot of songs about hanging in there and about battling through addiction. Especially like the song, the aforementioned Still Breathing. Also a handful, this would not be a Green Day album if there weren't some really catchy songs about love. There's a song called Young Blood that is obviously a song that Billy Joel wrote for his wife Adrienne. Very beautiful and just a nice pop punk song about love. You can't go wrong with Green Day in those kind of songs. It's a great song called Young Blood. Some of the good things from Revolution Radio, in particular, I will say there's a song called Too Dumb to Die, track number 9 in the album. In my opinion, that is perhaps one of the greatest Green Day songs throughout the history of Green Day. It's a terrific and super catchy pop punk song, and I cannot highlight how good that song is. In my opinion, the best song in the album, perhaps one of the greatest Green Day songs overall. I was disappointed that they actually did not release it as one of the first 3 albums, but one of the first 3 singles. But anyways, a great tune. Check it out, Too Dumb to Die. Kind of like a Ramones kind of style punk rock song. I of course liked all the catchy Green Day songs and the fast-paced ones, songs like Bang Bang, Revolution Radio, also Bouncing Off the Walls. Or is that called Bouncing Off the Walls? Bouncing Off the Wall. Great tune by Green Day in a classic Green Day kind of style. kind of similar to Dookie sounding era of Green Day. Very, very good songs. I also like the fast and the very tight kind of songs like Bang Bang, which they just played live in Jimmy Fallon, and I think they did a great job with that song too. One criticism that I have about that song, a little bit too loud in the MP3 version of the song. It's like the whole kind of loudness kind of war. I think that's very applicable in this song Bang Bang, but overall in the whole album I think it sounds okay. I also like the slower songs too. Ordinary World is a beautiful, beautiful ballad by Billy Joe. And one of the things that I liked in particular about the whole album Revolution Radio overall is that they start with a song called Somewhere Now, and then they end up with a song called the second to last song is called Forever Now, which is a 3-part song. The last part in that song is the reprise version of Somewhere Now, so they kind of go back to the beginning, which is very interesting if you take a closer, or if you pay very good attention to the lyrics. The lyrics of the song Somewhere Now at the very beginning say, "How did life in the wild side ever get so dull?" Which is kind of Green Day saying, okay, we're living this kind of rock and roll lifestyle, and all of a sudden I'm struggling here with life, dealing with addiction, with a lot of trouble in life. Also, some of the band members were struggling with some family members having cancer. So they were struggling a lot, even though they were living this crazy rock and roll lifestyle. And then at the end of the album, the song Forever Now, when they go back to Somewhere Now, they say the same lyrics. They say, how did life in the wild side ever get so full? But they changed the last part of that lyric. Instead of saying dull, they changed it to full, which is very interesting in the way that they turned it around. In my opinion, or what I got out of it, is that Green Day at the very beginning, they were saying, okay, we're dealing with a lot of tough things here in the band, a lot of issues with family, a lot of issues with addiction, but at the same time we're kind of living the rock and roll lifestyle, which is supposed to be a crazy lifestyle. And then at the end they say, hey, we're still up there, we're still producing great music, we're still putting out great records and great rock and roll songs, we're hanging in there, and we're just hanging in there. We're just still living the lifestyle and trying to make the best out of life overall, which I think it might be a really good analogy of what Revolution Radio is about, as far as the overall topics of the album, about the troubled times that we're living on, about the current events, the whole police brutality, terrorism, so many bad things going on in the world. But at the end they're saying, hey, there's a lot of bad things going on, but you gotta hang in there, you gotta stay together and just keep producing great music and hanging in there, stay together and just hang in there. I think that's the overall message of the album Revolution Radio overall, which is a great way of closing the album, I think, with the songs Forever Now and the very good ballad Ordinary World. Finally, what's not so good about the album, I did not like the song Outlaw that much. I think it was just too slow, and I just didn't see that it would fit very well in the album overall. And finally, I do think that the Green Day in the whole album, they rely a little bit too much in the whole in the overall loud, quiet, loud kind of technique. I think they just overuse it maybe a little bit. But overall, I think it's a great album. As far as a review, I think this is a great Green Day album. Is it their best? Probably not. I think albums like American Idiot and Insomniac and Dookie, they're a lot better. But I think it is a fantastic album. If you're into punk rock, if you're into rock and roll overall, I think you will like Revolution Radio as a whole album. I do like the fact that it's not overproduced like the trilogy of albums were, and I do like the fact that it's different, that it's not an overly political album too. And overall, the whole album flows really well. And in my opinion, I give it a 4.5 stars out of 5. A fantastic new album by Green Day. Definitely meets the expectations. It didn't meet my expectations when I thought that they would release something like Nimrod or something like Insomniac. But overall, it's a good Green Day album. This is how Green Day sounds nowadays. Green Day is an arena rock band. They're huge, and their sound is definitely like it. And Overall, I really like the whole album. I highly recommend that you check out Revolution Radio, and you might hear me talking a little bit more about this album in the next few days when I get my CD copy as well, and maybe I'm gonna try to get some of the singles perhaps. Anyways, VC, that's my review of Green Day with Revolution Radio. Let me know what you think about the album. Let me know what you think about my overall review. Thanks for watching, VC, and take care. Bye bye.